Whatever you cannot manage properly or you cannot manage at all will be taken away from you. This is something that I had to learn the hard way. It is a hard pill to swallow, but let's talk about it. I have been privileged to get employed and earn a good amount of money while I was still under the care of my parents. So basically, my own mind that I made was just my own to do whatever that I wanted to do with. However, because I lacked proper money management or even basic money management, I ended up losing all that money or spending it all on useless things, to a point where I even got into debt that took me so many years to finish paying. If only I had basic money management skills, I think I could have saved myself a lot of trouble and a lot of frustration that I have gone through in the past years. So in today's video, I'm going to discuss 3 basic money laws that everybody should know and apply into their lives in order for their money to start working for them. These rules are very basic. Anybody can follow. It doesn't matter how much you make. Before I get into this, please, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. Like I said last time, I'm aiming towards the 1,000 subscriber milestone and it's getting very close. So please, if you are not subscribed, I would appreciate if you can subscribe and share the video with someone whom you think might benefit. And if you are new, my name is Agnes and I'm here on YouTube sharing my journey to financial independence. So without wasting any more time, let's get into this. The first law is called the law of 10 cents. You've probably heard that you need to save 10% of your income. I have even spoken about it on this channel countless amount of time. You have to pay yourself at least 10% of whatever that you make, and that 10% needs to be invested or saved towards your future. Not everybody can do this, but one thing is that you just need to start somewhere. Whether it's 10%, whether it's 5%, 2%, just try to take, in whatever mind that you make, you need to take out a portion of that money and save it or invest it towards your future self, because you don't want to be working for money for the rest of your life. I personally used to struggle a lot with this law, simply because I lacked the ability to delay gratification, and this is one of the other laws that I'm going to discuss a bit later. For those that earn minimum wages, it might feel like 10% of your income is very little to make any difference towards your future. One thing that we don't realize is that compound interest will work in our interest if we give it time. So the sooner you start putting this 10% aside towards your investment or your saving, the higher your ability of benefiting from compound interest. If you're a young person who just recently got a job or just recently started working, then you should make sure that at least 10% of your income should go towards your savings or your investment, especially if you're still living with your parent. Like in my case, when I got my first job, I was still under the care of my parent for I think 2 to 3 years, between 2 to 3 years. So imagine if I started saving 10% of my income during that time. I would have had a good lump sum to start with when I became an adult, when I had to take care of myself. If you are still young, you just got your first job, make sure that you need to start putting aside your 10% of your income. Even now, while you're still in college or in school, if you get like pocket money, make it a habit. The earlier you start doing it, the better you can build this habit, so that by the time you start making a lot more money, then it becomes much easier and more natural for you to take out that 10% and save it. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly 10%. You can take out as much as you can, but the minimum across most literature is 10%. What you're going to do with this 10% or 5% of your money is that you can start saving it into a savings account. Find somewhere where you can safely put this money so that you don't have easy access to it. The law of 10 cents, very important. Start applying it today with whatever income you have, whether it's from your parent or from a job or from a business. Make sure that 10% of that income gets saved. So the second law is the law of organization. This is exactly what the law says. The law of organization. So having an organized workspace or an organized mind will definitely set you up for success. The same happens with your finances. You need to have your finances organized. Let's take into consideration these 3 questions. Now, if I was to ask you, how much debt do you have? How much savings do you have? And how much money do you currently have on your checking account? If it takes you time to think about these questions, especially the debt, as to how much debt you have, if it takes you time to think about that, then your finances are not organized. One thing that you need to make sure to succeed with your money is to know exactly how much you're owing versus how much you're making, so that you know where you're falling short. Let's consider debt. If you owe multiple people, like for instance, in my case, I owed for Shein, I owed Edgar's and a lot more other retailers. I did not have them organized into one place to know exactly how much I owed and what are my plans towards paying them. And because of that, I was just juggling myself around, moving from one account to another, not necessarily having a plan. So this law of organization speaks about having a plan on how you are going to pay off your debt, or having a plan with your income against your expenses. So the best way to achieve this is by having a budget, because a budget will tell you exactly how much you're making versus how much you're spending and what your net worth. Having a budget is super crucial. It's just one part of making sure that your finances are organized. And the other thing is also just writing things down, having something like a vision board. Let's say by the end of this year your goal is to finish paying off all your credit cards. Then when you have a vision board, when you're seeing all these things detailed down in a more organized way, it just gives you the motivation to keep going until the end. Like most things, budgeting is not easy. However, the more you do it, you do become accustomed to it, and then it just becomes part of you. The third law is the law of enjoying the wait. We can all agree that good things comes to those who wait. However, this is one of the things that most people struggle with. I struggle with this one for the longest amount of time, giving into instant gratification. This law states that giving into instant gratification is definitely going to cost you in the long run. And because of my inability to delay gratification, I ended up in so much debt because I just couldn't wait to save enough money to buy something. I ended up getting it on credit, and one credit led to another, and eventually I just had so much debt on things that I did not necessarily need or things that could have waited. The world has just made everything super instant to us and super easy to access. But with that instant and that easiness comes a lot of cost. To outsmart the debt monster, you need to start saving on the things that you want. Of course, your needs cannot wait. They have to be prioritized. But for the things that you don't necessarily need, make it a habit to start saving on those things. I have started applying this law into my life, and it has just made a huge difference in my spending habits. I now do find myself managing my money very well because I don't give into instant gratification anymore. And the thing is that because I take my time to think about things before buying them, I then do realize that sometimes I don't necessarily need those things. And just know that debt is not cheap. It definitely will cost you. I paid so much money on interest and late fees, and now when I think about all the things that I could have bought, or all the things that I could have done with that money that I paid on interest, it's heartbreaking. Those are the three laws that move the needle for me in terms of my finance management. And like I said earlier on, that whatever that you cannot manage properly will be taken away from you. I was unable to manage my money properly, and I lost it all. I lost it all by paying interest and paying unnecessary fees. But now that I'm more smarter with my money and I'm more wiser, I am able to manage my money in a way that is benefiting me and my family. Thanks for watching.